All right, Pops. Well, here we go. I wanted to start out by saying I think it's funny that both of us have false teeth in right now that are glued in right
Thanks
now.
for telling
Yeah,
everybody. You know,
But
no.
I'm right there with you, right? I mean, we could take them out to show everyone, but we got
Yeah,
them
but I
glued
still
in.
got my bottoms.
Yeah, we're here to look our best, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Well-
But yeah, I mean, I was curious, like, how did you lose your teeth? Because I lost mine in a blackout.
You know, wear and tear, man. It's some, just I'm 72 now.
Yeah.
You know, things don't last forever.
That's true.
But I had them knocked out a couple times, but wear and tear. I still got my bottoms. So.
Yeah, and they're looking sharp.
Yeah.
I mean,
Remember, I had that
let me
one
see.
tooth for like
yeah. I mean, it's,
for
you
like
can
2
have-
years. I just had that one tooth. God, your mama hated that. Looked like a boxer, But anyway.
All right, cool, Pops. Well, and then you got something cut off your face
Yeah, I had
recently. What
skin
happened there? I mean,
cancer.
it's looking good compared to what
Yeah,
it
it's
was.
called
but
basal cell.
Yeah.
Skin cancer.
what's that?
For
What's that
all them
looking like?
years of surfing
You
and
think you're
shit.
gonna get another 20 years out of it, or what do you think?
Well, they didn't get melanoma yet. So, I'm borderline. So,
Yeah.
good news for now.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
as
you're
you
looking
get
healthy.
older, yeah, I feel pretty good, except a little overweight.
We're
eating, but-
both right there. We got good women in our lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. Gotta admit that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
God knows how many mothers I went through.
Oh.
Yeah,
man,
and
yeah.
then the homes.
We'll
but
get
whatever.
into that. Yeah.
all right.
But so what's your life like right now? On a day-to-day basis.
Retired. Kick it. I watch a lot of movies that I enjoy. I never used to watch movies. Couldn't sit still. But now I enjoy it. It's like security or something. It's weird.
Me and the old lady watched Let It Ride the other day.
Oh,
Remember that one?
Oh, man.
But
Do
the
I
whole-
remember
but
it?
the-
That was my life,
We used to
man,
watch
for-
it every day
Yeah, I know.
in the
but-
shop. That
Yeah,
and-
but I lived it, not watched it.
Oh,
That was us.
We
Fuck, you went with me as a kid.
Oh yeah. I was there.
The track.
It was Let It
Unbelievable.
Ride and Friday. We'd watch those every day, and then sometimes Revenge with Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah.
With
Well,
the-
I like that because of the shit I went through. But
Yeah.
Kevin, that movie was one of my favorite. Revenge.
Yeah.
With Anthony Quinn. He's old time. You guys never heard of him.
My heart bleeds, but revenge is in the creator's hands. That reminds me of that.
Costner
That quote
did a
from,
movie,
Revenant.
Horizon, now that you said was no good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
I
up,
watched-
Costner?
Yeah, it was called
No, I'm
Horizon.
just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really.
At
dig
first,
it, but
we
tried.
only got chapter
I
one.
love Costner, but I tried. Yeah, but
I got chapter one, and Mama brought it home on tape. And the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. But then I watched it again and again. Now I've watched it 6 times.
Horizon.
Yeah.
Oh, and you dig it?
I just can't get enough of it.
The new one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because, I'm old school.
Yeah.
I like that old Western, how the people really went through with the Indians and shit.
Well, yeah.
You
I'm
know.
part Indian. I know.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
almost half. Right.
I know. That's why I guess I'm interested in
Yeah.
it. 'Cause-
Remember, I'm a half breed. Remember when I was younger, you used to say, "Hey, son, they used to hang kids like you."
yeah, I
I'm just-
know.
Well, you were
didn't
just
say
messing
that.
around. And you
I
never
know.
said that.
You really thought I meant that?
No, I knew you were joking. But hey, I'm half.
Well, half those times I was pretty crocked, But, yeah, half breed. Breed.
I mean, you're pure Irish. That's rare these days that someone's pure.
Yeah, look at the skin cancer
I
and
know.
shit. Yeah.
So what's so Horizon's one of your favorites? Yeah, me and
Well,
the
I
old lady.
mean, lately, you
Yeah,
know.
Danny hates when I call the old lady, by the way. But when we watched Let It Ride recently, I mean, I loved it because it reminded me of the old days. But she couldn't handle it.
Well, because some people are really, they're real compulsive. It gets in your blood. I can't explain it other than it gets in your blood.
Yeah,
The sport and
Yeah.
the gambling and just everything about horse racing and the backside where the people have to work and take care of those horses. It got in my blood.
It's a
Plus, you
whole-
can
yeah.
make a killing if you make a
Oh,
hit.
my God.
But to be obsessed as I was is insane. It's not normal. It's not normal.
What's the feeling like when they say, "And away they go," and it's
I can't explain it. You're just
When-
in
when that
another
race
world.
starts.
It's like you on a wave, taking off on that perfect.
you're not
fucking
thinking of
tube.
anything else.
No, it's just like, and then if my horse comes in, the money I'm gonna make, and just just the excitement. It's insanity. It really
Yeah,
is. It
I
gets
remember
to be.
that one time when
People can't understand it because it's not in their blood.
you had Let's Go Surfing, that horse, Let's Go Surfing. You had 5 out of 6 going into the 6th race.
Yeah,
It was going to pay 250 grand.
I don't even like thinking about that.
You lost by a nose. It was a photo finish,
Yeah, it
right?
made us wait forever for the
Yeah.
photo. I could have won about what, $275,000.
Yeah.
Back then was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Today it's not much, but back then you could buy 2 houses.
I remember.
3 maybe.
I remember. And then Louis just gave me that old video of us at the track when I was 9 years old. So I'll probably throw that in here somewhere. But
I can't believe you got that video.
That's
man.
the only footage we have back
I was
then.
in shock.
Yeah, you and Cochino.
Yeah, that's my
With
friend Big John.
The car
yeah.
with the radiator that he had it chained down because it wouldn't fit. Because he got the radiator in a junkyard.
He took it out of his old truck that broke down.
Oh,
and he put it in his car, and the hood wouldn't close because the radiator was too fucking big. So he had to chain it down so he could drive. I know. And Lurch was crazy, man.
I mean, it was nuts, but we had a lot of good times too.
Yeah, but it worked. The radiator, it worked. But I
Got
mean,
us to the track, and he was laying.
he could have $2,000 in his pocket, but he'd do that with a radiator so he could go to the track. It's just insanity. Yeah, when you look back at it, but at the time we didn't give a shit. We were just living.
It wasn't a boring childhood, Dad. I honestly, I cherish it, man. I know you think I rag and all that, but I do cherish it. Like, you don't meet too many kids who had that animated childhood.
All I can say is thank God you didn't go through what I did. That's all I'm saying. If you think you had it rough, kid, you don't know.
That's what we're here for, baby.
Know.
And that's what let's get into it.
It's just
a little.
It's just amazing that I didn't end up in fucking prison.
Yeah, I mean,
because I'm telling you,
I put it in the book after the shit you went through. So how about we jump into that a little bit?
And my brother. So you forget my brother.
So I made some notes here. We'll let's dive into that a little bit.
Right now?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like there's a lot we got to get through here. You've had a very colorful life. So this is what I put here. I mean, let's dive into your childhood because I know some of it, but I don't know all of it. So how about this? What did you want to be when you were a little kid? Your first memories.
My first memories is to have a decent home with a mother and father that actually loved you and took care of you. That's all I ever wanted. As long as I can remember, that I always took care of my little brother. Always watch out for him, to make sure he had food to eat and a place to sleep, and without getting beat in the middle of the night, and drunks fighting each other and going after each other with knives and forks and dishes and breaking windows and motherfucking this and motherfucking that, and just a fucking insanity that you just won't believe. It's just my dad. Every time they'd fight, I'd end up on my dad's side, and my brother would end up on the mother's side. And just trying to keep them apart from killing one another. And then we'd end up getting hit, and just fucking insanity. And then waiting for the cops to come, and just crazy. And, I'm like 6, 7, 8, I forget exactly, 6 years old. Just young. I can barely when you start to remember things. Because when you're 2, 3, and 4, you don't really remember. They're supposed to be the good times. And when my dad, was well, he had furniture stores, and he used to go to Vegas all the time. They used to call him Mr. G because he could get $10,000 credit just on the signature. And thought he was cool. He'd be a high roller on the crap table. And back in the 50s, that was a lot of fucking money. 10 G's. And believe me, that was big. And to make a long story short, he ended up with nothing. With a fucking wine bottle, And then, we're off to the homes. Juvenile Hall, McLaren Hall.
Before you go there, Dad, can you tell us a little bit about your mom? Because I never met her. You haven't seen her since you were...
I don't even like thinking about it. I had the worst of mothers. She was just so fucking hateful. She just would take everything out on me because of my dad. It was a fucking whore. He loved women. He just was drinking, drunk all the time with women all the time. And my mother just would take it out on me. And I'd protect my brother. She wouldn't hit my brother, but she'd beat me pretty good. You know, just come in drunk, you're sleeping, you know, in the middle of the night. You fucking kid, you son of a bitch, you ate all the fucking food. And, you know, and said, beat me for nothing, really. Just, oh, I hate thinking about those days. I'd cry to sleep. You know, one time she broke a water bottle over my head. And I had to get like 100 stitches on the top of my head. And just the way she, you know, get away with that shit. It's just, I ended up hating her. Fucking hating her. You know, I wanted just to get out of there, but where am I going to go? I'm too young, because all the family we had were dying off and, you know, gone. They didn't want to get involved with the drunks. And we ended up in some fucking Skid Row apartment. And it was behind the Grommer's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. I don't know if you know where that's at.
I'm kind of familiar with that, yeah.
It used to be a real famous movie theater. And the movie stars all lived around there. And we were on La Brea, one of the main drags of this dumpy apartment. And then just 2 blocks down was the rich and famous, like Ozzie and Harriet, the Rifleman, Chuck Connors and all that. Because my dad, I don't know, he always thought he'd get into Hollywood or something, but he never did. My Uncle Sid's dad was a cameraman there that used to film those shows. And he was a hardcore alcoholic. They were in the service together. But anyway, that's about my mother. It just, one time she came in, it was probably like 1, 2 in the morning, I remember really bad, and it's really sad. She came in with a black guy. She was a waitress at Norm's then when we were down and out. And she came in my room with this black guy. He was the cook. She said, I want you to shut your fucking mouth and don't say a fucking sound. And I looked up and I seen the guy and her, and they were all drunk and, you know, taking her clothes off and shit. And it's just, I was so fucking just so disgusted. Anyway, she shut the door and they went in, you know, the living room, and they were doing their thing. You could hear them, you know, the moaning and groaning. And it just was so sick. So I told my brother, just get up. Just get the fuck up. We got to get out of here. And I grabbed him. We grabbed our clothes, and he was crying. And he said, Dad, Mikey, I don't want to go. I said, we got to get out of here. They might beat us and shit. We got to go. They're drunk. So I ran outside, and she goes, where are you going, you little bastards? Where are you going? I said, fuck you, slut. We're the fuck out of here, man. So we ran out the front door, and on the side of the building was a vacant lot. And we were yelling in the living room. You could see through the window, and they were like half naked, yelling at us, get back in the fucking house, get back in the fucking house. And I said, fuck you, whore. Fuck you, man, you lover. And, you know, I was just a kid. I didn't even know what I was saying, you know. And I saw a broom down on the ground. I grabbed the broom, and I broke it over my knee. And I took it as hard as I could and threw it through the fucking window. It was like a spear. And it fucking went right through the window. It shattered all over, and it stuck my mother in the chest. The fucking stick hit her, you know. And I said, run, Patrick, run, Pat. Let's go, let's go. She goes, I'll kill you, you fucking bastard. I'll kill. And then last I know, we ran and ran and ran, and we were about 3 blocks away, and we're on Hollywood Boulevard, man, where all the fucking drunks are and everything. And we're just little kids, and we're half dressed and no money, nothing, nowhere to go. And I just remember this to this day, how sad it was and sickening. And these old drunks, they saw us crying and stuff, and they said, what's wrong, kid? And I couldn't believe it. This old guy took us up to this vacant house that was condemned. The windows all boarded up and shit, and there was winos sleeping in there. And he took us in and fed us hot dogs, and we cooked them over the toilet. And sorry. And I didn't know what to do with my brother. And
So we stayed there with the winos. And you wouldn't believe it, they didn't hurt us. Then they took care of us for a while. And then after about 2 days of that, we finally went back home, and that was the last time I ever saw my mother. She took off, and we were in the apartment with no food and nothing, and no family. My dad was out on a drunk somewhere, I don't know where. And the neighbor girl that used to live next door to us felt sorry for us, so she used to come over and read us stories when we go to sleep. And, you know, she was nice to us, but she used to play with us, you know, and like touch our ding-dongs and stuff. You know, she was kind of nuts, you know. But she was, you know, the only thing we had close to an adult. And she said that because the landlord started coming around, wanted us, you know, if you're not going to pay rent, you got to get out of there. So she offered us to stay at her house with her husband. So, of course, I took it. I had nowhere to go. And they went to work, and my brother went with her because, I don't know, she used to work at some laundry business or something. And so I was so grateful having a place to stay, I started cleaning the house. And I was in the bedroom, and I had the cigarette lighter. I don't know why. It was just laying on the table, and I took the polish, the lighter fluid to polish the lighter and make it real shiny. And I was laying on the bed, and like a dumbass, I lit it. And the thing exploded in a flame and rolled off me and went under the bed and caught the bed on fire instantly. Because back then they built beds where they weren't fire retardant. And the shit underneath the desk cloth caught on fire, and it went behind and caught on the drapes. The drapes, you could spread them like this. They were, you know, just disintegrate. And the fucking whole bedroom was on fire in a matter of minutes. And the fire department comes. I burned half the fucking apartment down. And here I was just trying to clean the place. So anyway, we were out of there. They took us upstairs to her friends, this old lady. And the last time I remember, we were in the middle of the night, about 2, 3 in the morning. I'm laying on the hallway floor with a sleeping bag in front of the door, and the door knocks. And the lady gets up to answer it, and it's the police. They were plainclothes detectives or whatever, and they put me in handcuffs and said, you have to go with us. So off it went. I went to jail. They took me downtown. It was Wilcox Station. And they put me in the cell, and they said, we're going to try to locate your family. And my brother, when we didn't have a place to crash, we used to sneak up to the water heater room where they had all the water heaters for the apartments. And we used to lay there because it'd keep you warm, you know, when it was cold outside. So I told the cops. I didn't want to tell, but I told where my brother might be. So they went and found him at like 4, 5 in the morning. He was laying in there asleep, and they brought him down. At least I had my brother. And then we went off to the life started with the juvenile hall and all that shit. So that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about, tell us a little bit about your dad.
He was gone out of the picture drunk. You know, we used to, like, when he was with us, I remember my mother used to come and beat me at night and say, get the fuck up and get in there and get your dad's money. You know, when he's passed out in the fucking bedroom. You get in there and get it, you know, and she'd be hiding behind the door, like, looking at me, you know, I'll fuck you up, you don't get that money, you know. And so he used to hide it, but I always used to find it. I was clever, man. I could find shit, you know. And it got to the point where he used to hide it in his socks at night. He'd put it in his sock and he'd go to sleep. So my mother would give me a razor blade and say, get in there and get that fucking money, you know. So when he's all passed out snoring and shit, I used to get in there and cut a little hole in his sock so I could slide the money out without him waking up.
He'd always have at least 60, 80 bucks, $100 on him in 20s and 10s. And that was big money back then, in the early 60s. And I get it. And as I was walking towards my mother, I'd always slide a 20 or 40 in my pocket and then give her the rest. So me and my brother would have food money, This went on for a while. I couldn't believe it. It got to the point where my dad's, opened his door and his socks, they all had a hole in them. Fuck. From all the times I did it. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear to God it's true. And then he just slowly, and then he used to hide his wine bottles out because we'd always pour them down the drain. And he'd go outside and hide them in the bushes and trees, the cheap fucking wine, like white port, Gallo, just sweet vermouth, just the cheapest shit.
What about Cisco's? Was that around?
No, Cisco's wasn't around. That was back in my time. Yeah. Anyway, and I'd find it and pour it out, and then you'd see him through the drapes, through the window. He'd find his bottles, but they were empty, and he'd be so pissed off. So then one day he stopped coming around, and he just took off. And then that happened with my mother, and she took off, and then we were, no parents.
What was the last memory of your mom that you had?
That day, when I threw the spear through the last memory is when they finally found her. I was in, we had spent almost a year in juvenile hall before they found her. And I was in with kids that killed their parents for a fucking cigarette. I mean, my only crime was I didn't have any fucking parents. What the hell am I doing in here? Fuck, man, there was crazy fucking kids in there, man. But you gotta learn to roll with the punches, man. And I fucking learned. I learned how to steal and cheat and lie, and I just learned all this shit, And anyway, they finally found my mother. We had transferred.
Take this, Pops, just so you have it.
Oh, thank you. We had transferred from Juvenile Central. That was the worst fucking place you could go for a kid. Let me tell you, it was just like a prison. They fucking lock you up. One time I was in lockup for like 6 days straight with the light fucking burning all night long. You can't sleep. And they put me in there said I was incorrigible. Just crazy kid. So they locked me up and slide the food under the door. And I just sitting there crying. Oh,
It's okay. Take your time, Pops.
Anyway, I learned to survive, I'll tell you that. And I had such a hatred for the fucking... I hated her. I could have killed her. Anyway, they finally found her. And she's sitting in the courtroom. And the judge there, me and my little brother, after doing a year in the fucking juvenile hall, now we're in McLaren Hall. And they take us to the courtroom, and I could just see her sitting in that judge's, the chair, and the judge is saying, "Mrs. Millin, what do you intend to do with your kids, man?" He didn't say, "Man," you know how judges talk, and I'm sitting in that chair, and I just want to get at her. I'm looking at her in such disgust. And then when am I 8 years old, about 8 or 7.5, 8, I forget. And the judge said, "Well, what do you intend to do with your children, Mrs. Millin?" And she says, "Your Honor, I don't want them." And that did it. I says, "You fucking whore. You motherfucking whore. I hate you. Fucking hate you. I can't stand it." And they took me out of the courtroom, act like a man and all this. Say, "Fuck you, man. Here's the little kid, man." And they took me back, and I got really sick that night. I got the mumps. Next thing you know, I'm in the fucking hospital with the mumps. And my brother was crying for me. He wants to see me, and that's the last time I ever saw the bitch. And I'm glad. I had such a hatred for her, but now that I'm older and stuff, I just feel sorry for her.
You know, Dad, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and it rips my heart out of my chest. And
I just can't believe I haven't thought about this in years.
I want to say this to you because I want to know what you think about this. You know, I truly believe I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for God working in my life. But when I see what God has put you through, it makes me angry with God, like to the point where I like the anger that you feel towards your mother. I feel that towards God for putting you through what you
No,
went
you
through.
can't do that because I'd be dead if it wasn't for God. The shit I went through, I could have killed somebody, I'm telling you. And, you know, and to end up the way I did with my own business at 21 and having about 10 employees, you can't.
How do you justify God taking you through that as a little kid?
Well, because even though the homes were a nightmare, it was a place to be taken care of, you know? It wasn't just out in the streets. You know, the home, at least you had a meal, a place to sleep, even though it was rough. I learned to appreciate it after a while. And I learned to just do things, try to be nice to people, and you'll get farther in life instead of being a little fucking convict crook, you know? It's sad. It's just sad. But the most I felt bad for was my little brother because he was, 2 years younger than me. And, he was in the homes with me. We weren't in the same dorm because of the age, but at least I got to see him every day, and we went all through that together, you know. It's just weird, it's just weird. And then I don't want to, later on we'll talk about it.
Well,
yeah.
I just before we talk about your brother. Is there anything else you want to say about the orphanage? And because you were there pretty much all throughout your teens.
4 years.
Okay.
4 years, from 8 to 12, maybe almost 13 when I got out, when they finally, my dad start coming around. And I hated him. I didn't even want to see him. And I had $50 saved up when they gave us 50 cents an hour to work. I worked all that time and I saved up $50, But that was in McKinley Home. Now, McKinley Home was decent. We had walls about 3 foot high, so you could leave anytime you want. They told us that. You're very lucky to be in this home. We went to outside schools with normal kids, and then we come back to the home. And they had programs like football, basketball, swimming, stuff like that. So it was decent, We had education. We go to outside schools like a normal kid. Of course, it wasn't normal, but... well, like juvenile in McLaren Hall was another story. I don't even want to think about, I made it through and that's it. But anyway, make a long story. What were we talking about?
Oh, just the years in the orphanages before we talk about your brother a bit.
Anyway, I learned a lot. I learned a lot in those homes, that how to take care of yourself and survive. And, there was other kids that went through that shit like me. I wasn't the only one. So that kind of helps you as you're getting older, But, and then, make a long story short, when my dad first came, I didn't want to talk to him. I hated him. Fuck, for 4 years, I didn't even know if he's dead or alive. My mother, I wouldn't even talk to her if she was there. I would never talk to her ever again. Ever. But my dad, anyway, you asked me later on, but anyway, he came into the picture. But the homes, it's just, you got to make the best of it. In the juvenile hall, I learned how to steal. I used to learn from the kids how to stuff locks, where they used to keep all the candy and everything. I'd stuff the locks. So, at nighttime, I can go in there and get candy. And I'd only take one out of each box so they wouldn't miss it. And then I'd give it to the big black kids or the Mexicans to be friends that would protect me so I wouldn't get beat up by the other kids. And I had a lot of friends that way, giving them Hershey bars and shit and Snicker bars, And, hey, it kept me alive and kept my brother alive, because kids in there would kill you, like I said, for a cigarette.
Yeah.
It's insanity, the juvenile hall. I can't believe it. And some kids even go through what I did, if you can believe it. They get molested bad and stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I heard stories like you wouldn't believe. It's just, I can't believe that this kind of shit goes on in the world, But anyway.
Tell
it's
us a little bit more about your pops, like once he came back and what he was like, and
Well, he come back broke. He was didn't have the furniture stores and stuff, but I don't remember the good times anyway. We used to have new homes, new cars when I was a kid, but I don't remember that. 2, 3 years old, you don't remember that shit. And then my mom would get drunk, and we'd come home from school or something. Like when we first started going to school, I remember that the house would be empty. She'd sell all the furniture and take the money and go on a drunk. Then my dad would lose another house, of a long story short. And then he'd get another house and furnish that. And then she'd do it again, sell all the shit and go party on the money and come back broke. That's the kind of mother I had. But anyway, make a long story short, my dad started coming around. And anyway, he started visiting once a week now. And, my brother, of course, he loved, Dad, Daddy, and all this. And then after about the 5th visit, he said, how would you kids like to come home with Dad and stuff? And I said, well, I don't know, Dad. We're set up here, and, and we don't want to, all I remember is misery, drunk. I don't want to go back to that shit. But my dad sat me down and talked to me and everything and just kept coming back. And he was sober. He was on that program, Alcoholics Anonymous. And he had like a year or 2 sobrieties. And then my godfather and uncle would come with him. Well, not Uncle Sid. He was still drunk. But my godfather, Harry, he used to own a pie shop at Farmer's Market. He was a big old guy. And he'd say, come on, give your dad a chance. He wants to take you kids home and try to do for you. So I see my dad. I said, okay. So it was against my better judgment, and I told my brother, let's go home with Dad. So he took us, and we got in the car. He said he found out I had that $50 I saved at the bank in the home, and he took it from me, and I said, that's it, I'm going back. He took my $50. That's like for a kid working his ass off to save that. It took me months. 50 cents an hour, pulling weeds, cleaning horse shit, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, he said, don't worry, son, I'm going to pay you back. So I remember the ride in the car. I just wanted to get out and go back to the home. But anyway, I watched my dad. He got us an apartment. He was selling signs for my Uncle Sid because he was real talented. He could paint. He was an artist, man. He could paint anything. He was so good. He paint murals on walls and signs, and he called it Sid Signs. And my dad would go sell the signs, and they'd split the commission, and Uncle Sid would go paint them. And that's how he raised us for a couple of years in apartments like that. And I saw my dad work his ass off, trying to feed me and my brother and take care of us, so I learned to love him again. And I'll never forget him for that. That was, something I'm not used to. And he did pay me back the $50, so I was grateful. But one time he brought home a pizza and it was cold, so he told my little brother to put the pizza in the oven and heat it up. When we're watching TV in the room, and about 15 minutes later, we hear this boom. And my brother, like an asshole, he lit the stove, but the gas was running for like 10 minutes and the pilot light wasn't on, and he stuck a match in there with all that gas and it blew him almost through the next apartment. Fucking almost killed him. He come out looking like buckwheat and his hair was all burnt. I don't mean laughing, but the poor kid was burnt. He had bad burns, man. We had to take him to the hospital, man. He was in for a couple days, but he got better. But, man, it almost killed him. I'll never forget that, trying to heat up the pizza. My dad was there all night in the hospital worried about my little brother, and that really meant a lot to me that we finally had somebody that cared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it's your life has just been one chapter after the next of like challenging things to walk through. And so tell us about your brother.
Well, I was his guardian. We used to steal newspapers to get money for food, and We go sell them. Sundays were the best because they had the thick papers and you could get $1 for them. You know, they were 50 cents then, but a lot of people would say, keep the change, you know, and they'd only have $1. So we get 50-cent tip. And we, you know, get 8 or 9 newspapers and, you know, we'd have enough to survive for a couple of days. You know, 5, 6, 7, $8, $10. And I used to feed them with that. I remember that. So we were pretty tight. And then in the homes through all that shit.
Yeah.
And then we went, you know, with the dad through junior high and then high school. We went through all that. And make a long story short, my brother was, he just turned 18. He was 17 and a half, 18. And he was going out with my old girlfriend. We used to hitchhike up and down the street in Hermosa, because that's how we met women on Friday night, girls, you know. We just hitchhike and they pick up the surf bumps, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, I met this girl and we lasted a week or so, and then my brother started going out with her. And anyway, make a long story short, he had a little kid with her. You know, I couldn't believe it. He's just barely 18. He had a little kid. And he was trying to be a singer. And my brother was totally different than me. He didn't surf, none of that. He was more in the Hollywood scene. He wanted to sing. He wanted to be an actor. He was really good looking. My brother, man, could get the women. He was a good looking kid, man. I come out the black sheep, but he was a good looking kid. Kind of looked like a young John Voight. I don't know if you remember him.
I know John Voight is, yeah.
Yeah, but he's old now. But back in his kid days, man, he looked a lot like him. And he was in Midnight Cowboy, a lot of movies anyway.
Yeah.
But he looked just like my brother. Anyway, he was like about 18, and the kid was like a month old, and he got arrested up in Hollywood. He was sleeping in the back of a car, and some homosexual said he was stealing the car. But he was at a party up there just partying. You know, that's all I knew, up in Hollywood. And he passed out in a car. He was asleep. They said he tried to steal it, so they arrested him. And while he was waiting, it was over the weekend, while he was waiting to go to the court to see the judge in the cell, some motherfucker broke loose out of his chains or something and beat him to death. Killed my brother in jail. That's what the fucking cop said. You know, that the guy, a little Mexican guy, man, how the fuck's he gonna kill my brother? No fucking way. When I met the Mexican, I was gonna kill him. Oh, fuck. We were in the courtroom and that guy was sitting there. And I jumped off my seat. You know, my dad grabbed me and they grabbed me. The judge made me, they're gonna arrest me because I went nuts. But I start thinking about it when they took me out and they had to cuff me and put me in a room, said they were going to put me in jail for contempt of court or something. I didn't give a fuck. My dad slapped me, act like a man. I said, Dad, the lawyers were laughing at my brother's pictures of his head like a candle, like a pumpkin bleeding on the ground, and that's funny? Fuck them lawyers, man. They were laughing. And that I flipped out. Anyway, to come to find out, my dad hired an investigator. They used to work in the jails. And they found out that one of the cops that worked there was the one that beat him. And blamed it on the Mexican. They deported him so I could never find the Mexican. And they deported him to, and I'm glad they did, because I could have been in jail for murder, you know. They found out that one of the cops did it, and he did other people too. My brother wasn't the only one. The guy was a sadistic motherfucker. And my dad, and anyway, took the city or the state or the city to court. And long story short, he won the case, and he had the baby, so she got the money. He got like an $80,000 judgment from my wrongful death of my brother. So he got the money to take care of the kid, you know, my brother's little kid. And then your mother, you know, God bless her, but she used to be insanely jealous when we were first together. And he come over one time to show me the baby. The baby was only like 3 months old, and your mother, as crazy as she was, he ran her out. Thought I was having an affair with her or something, so your mother, that's the last time I ever saw my brother's kid. Because they moved up north, up to Sacramento or something. She found a new boyfriend or something. And so she got the money and moved, and her mother was in real estate and made her buy these apartments. They invested the money, so I knew they were set. The kid was set for life, because the kid's grandma was sharp, realtor, and made her daughter buy those apartments. And then the guy she went with was a carpenter, so he knew how to fix shit and sold carpets. So I knew the kid was taken care of, and that's the last time I ever saw the kid. We just had a weird family, man. Nobody ever really stuck together. You know,
Yeah.
It was just weird, you know.
Yeah, well, God rest his soul, Uncle Patrick, man. I wish I got to meet him, but
Yeah, I know.
he's
He
in
was a
better place
trippy
now.
kid. You'd have loved him.
Yeah.
Man, he could sing. Oh, and he was good looking. All the girls used to go for him, man. I know. It was crazy. You know, I'd be pissed off. He'd get all the broads, you know. But whatever.
So let's move forward to some more.
Is there any
Some
happiness
good, I
in
mean,
there?
how about when the next chapter is you opening your business and stepping into abundance? You know, you had a house on the beach, a Lotus, all these toys. You're traveling the world.
Yeah,
Let's tell us a little bit about that chapter.
What a life,
Whoa,
huh?
yeah.
Fuck, from total bizarre chaos to fucking just, it's unbelievable. You know, and that's why I'm grateful for my dad, even though he was fucked. He did teach me. I couldn't work for him because he would always yell at me and scream at me, and I had to be the best of everything, the best of this. And I said, fuck you, Dad, I can't work with you. So I went and got a job at Beacons, moving and storage, you know. And $5 an hour was good money then. But man, is that hard work. Moving somebody's house, furniture all day. But I did it, man, and I learned. People would give me their hand-me-downs when they were, I don't want that chest, or I don't want that sofa, or that refrigerator. And I'd take them home, fix them all up, and sell them. Like my dad. My dad had furniture stores, so I learned how to do that. And shit, I started making more money doing that than working at Beacons. And then had a really sharp girlfriend at the time, Patty. She worked at the bank. And she told me, why don't you be like your dad and get a store and start selling stuff? And make a long story, because of her, I did. I got a store, and I started out with, one mattress, one corner group, and one sofa bed, and called it Michael's Sleep Shop. And I had long hair down to, past my shoulders, and then, and it was so weird, because the guy I rented, he had a big store, and he rented me the front half, and it was right on Coast Highway 101. And he went to the same home I did, McKinley Home for Boys. The guy that owned the building, so we got along. Because he wouldn't rent to anybody. He didn't like long hair, he thought they were bums, but I was a surfer. So anyway, he rented to me $200 a month. I'll never forget it. Right on Coast Highway 101. And I started the little sleep shop. And I started it would be months before, it just was real slow, and I was starving. My dad lent me $1,000 to buy the furniture. That was a lot of money back then. And I'm really proud, because within 6 months I paid him back the $1,000. And he couldn't believe it. And I cut my hair, and I started advertising. And Patty, I asked her to quit her job and come be my secretary and help me in, and she would learn how to sell, and man, she was good. I'll tell you, I owe her a lot. And before you know it, that fucking store took off. Oh man, we started advertising full pages. I was in all the newspapers. I was on radio, a couple TV ads, Michael's Sleep Shop, the beds you need for the life you lead, and just start rolling, man. Before you knew it, I had like 10 guys working for me. It was fucking crazy. The mistake I made is I hired all my friends. That's the mistake I made. And they start getting jealous. Hey, this guy's making money, and all that. But anyway, that's a long story. And before you know it, I was out selling my dad, and he had 2 stores. And my little shithole shop was out selling what he was selling. So he gets a kick out of it, But anyway, I never drank or nothing. I just work, sleep, eat, back then, and maybe surf a little bit.
I wasn't a partier yet, you know. And then Patty came to me. She started going to church, and we kind of drifted apart, you know, because working together all the time. So I advise you, you and your girl, you know, don't be around each other all the time. You need a break. Because we work and slept, you know, and after a while it got, well, we were young too.
You got to be able to come up for air.
You got to come up for air, right. Anyway, she started going to church, and she met the minister. And the minister swept her off her feet. So he wouldn't let her work for me anymore. And I told him, I said, hey, I'm done. We could just be work-related, no boyfriend and girlfriend. But he didn't go for that. Not too many people would.
No way.
So she had to leave me. So Jack Arnold at the time was with one of my friends that was kind of like my manager. He found a girl named Regina. And Patty gave us 2 months before she left and taught her everything. So Regina filled in for her. So that's what happened. And then Patty took off, and she went and had 2 little girls. So you wouldn't even be here if I would stay with Patty.
Yeah.
She had 2 daughters. And after about 10 years, they got divorced, her and the minister. So that's what happened with her. But
and tell us a little bit more about, I mean, you had a house on the beach there in Hermosa, right?
Yeah,
you had all
that's
these
where it
toys.
started.
You were going around the world with Fox.
No, man, that was near the end there. But, yeah, I started making some money, and I would stash it, you know. And I just pretend I was broke again. Then I'd go back and make some more money and then stash it. My dad always taught me, because all the wives he had and the mothers, I didn't even get into that part of the different women I went through as a kid. But he taught me how to stash money, you know, and we used to stash it. And I don't really want to talk too much about how I stashed it, and I started getting this green. And then, you know, after about, I'd say 4 years of working solid in the shop, I started to party a little bit because Patty was gone, and, you know, and I had this green, and so I started buying some cars, and I bought a Harley Davidson. I had this ski boat that was awesome. It was called War, because I used to ski like a son of a bitch, man. I'd ski out 100 miles an hour. People thought I was crazy. You burn your feet off from the speed, you know?
Yeah.
But we had this, it had a big car engine in the boat. A 400 small block with dual quads, you know, those big carburetors.
Yeah.
And the boat was called War, and we used to race it up and down the Colorado River. God, those were the days. And I had the Harley.
And you were a talented athlete too. I know that
Oh,
because
yeah,
I
I
mean,
was
I'll
surfing
tell you
all the
how I
time.
knew that, because me and my buddies, we used to stay up all night doing cocaine and playing ping pong for money, for the rent money.
Oh, wow.
You know,
I was pretty good at ping
And I
pong.
could pretty much smoke everyone, not to toot my own horn, but then you came in and played me one time, and you were by far the best person I had ever played. Just watching your form.
Yeah, but I hadn't played in 15 years.
And you were half dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I used to be the champ in McKinley Home. There's one Oriental guy I used to hide from, though. He used to beat me. I'd beat him. We'd take turns. I didn't like playing him because he was as good as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't like losing.
Yeah. And
hated it.
I even had trophies for ping pong from the home and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. But
So
you were pretty good. You beat me. I was pissed.
You had the
I didn't show it, but I was pissed off.
I know. But so you had the boat. You were
snow skiing all the time.
You were skiing, surfing.
Yeah, I had the life for a while.
Yeah.
I really did. And then, you know, make a long story short, I had all the cars. You know, this before I met your mother now.
Yeah.
You know, you're not even near the picture yet. This is my single life. And I really had the life. And then, you know, I started drinking, you know, and it slowly, it would progress slowly. And then I started doing a little cola, you know, just the party scene. And
Maybe
shit.
a few lewds.
Yeah, all
like
the
the
lewds,
lewds, right?
Oh, yeah, because I'm hyper.
Yeah.
You know, high blood pressure.
Level you out a little bit.
Oh, fuck yeah. I didn't give a fuck about nothing.
Yeah.
You know, the stupid lewds, man. You wreck cars with them and everything. But I was lucky. I never did.
Yeah.
I flipped the boat a couple times, you know.
What about when you had all that money? Did it make you happy? Were you?
I thought it
happier,
did.
right?
I thought it did, but near the end there, this is about before 1980, 1978. I got kind of really depressed from, I guess it was the booze and the coke. And I got really sick. Not sick like, but mentally. And I broke out with this rash from head to toe. They called it psoriasis. And it got really bad, man. It was like, fuck, I didn't want to go out. I couldn't wear shorts. I had this little red spots all over it. It would flake and peel off, and I'd scratch myself at night till my fingers were full of blood from dead skin, you know, scratching. And I used to have to wear gloves and take tar baths because I would itch all night, and the sheets would be, you know, full of blood and stuff from me itching. And I got so fucking depressed, I wanted to kill myself. So I felt ugly. You know, I had this psoriasis, and I went to the best doctors. I had the money, and they, you know, they're so full of shit, these fucking doctors. But anyway, I listened to them, and they had me in sun baths and everything, and, you know, the sunlight and all that. But shit, that can give you cancer. That's probably why I got this shit on my face from those fucking sun lamps. But I listened to them, take tar baths and everything. Finally, I said, fuck it. So this is how sick you get in the head. Oh, the fabric on the couches and the mattresses, I'm allergic to it. And the dust in the shop, because the guy in the back had a upholstery shop, and he used to reupholster, and it'd always be dusty in the shop, and I thought I was allergic to it. So I got to get out of here. I got to get out. So I just took off to Cabo San Lucas and stayed 2 weeks out in the sun, surfed every day, had fun, and it started going away, you know, the psoriasis. So I could start wearing shorts again and everything. So in my mind, make a long story short, I came back and shut down the shop. I said, fuck it, I quit. I had a stash, and, you know, I was only 27, and I said, fuck it, I'm retiring. You know, the big shot.
Plus, you wanted to get healthy.
Yeah, I wanted to get healthy.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started traveling, and I closed the shop. They couldn't believe it. And the guy in the back that rented me the shop he couldn't wait till I got out because he took over. I left him the gold mine. You know, I should have sold it because we were everywhere advertising. I mean, they knew Michael's Sleep Shop, and I tell you, I had a lot of repeat customers, man, because we took care of them, man. When I said I'd be there and deliver, I did it. You know, I always kept my word on that. Anyway, long story short, he got rich, and he'd invest his money in real estate, and he started buying houses, everything, Richard. Anyway, he dropped dead from a heart attack. Can you believe it? Fucking workaholic with all that fucking money, and just dropped dead, and he couldn't believe it. He hated this kid. His stepson was a bum, pot smoker, would never work. And he was a workaholic. He ended up with all the money, him and his mom. Fucking crazy. 5, 6 houses, apartment buildings. Anyway, go ahead. I start traveling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
and boozing heavy.
And then you met Mom.
No, yeah, I met Mom, but I first met Fox.
Okay.
The rich guy, the
Tell us about
Malta.
that, Fox, and then meeting Mom.
Yeah.
In Kona.
Yeah, in my long story short, I met him on a Club Med trip. You ever heard of Club Meds?
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it's true. They should call it Club Med because it's a party. The French own it, you know, and you don't have money on you or nothing. You wear shorts, you wear beads. The beads are your money. So every time you get drinks, they say, bead me. You pay with beads. So I went to a couple of those, and I met this guy, Fox. And this guy was just like the movie Arthur. I don't know if you guys ever saw
Yeah, I remember
Arthur.
that. Yeah.
You know, he traveled in Learjets and limousines and everything. And anyway, I couldn't compete with him and his kind of wealth. This guy was just filthy, rotten rich, and he was a stinking drunk. Just a good-for-nothing drunk. I don't know why his dad, his dad was the one that owned all the big corporations and everything, but he used him as a write-off because he had the Bible. We used to call it the Bible. He'd open his wallet, had every credit card in the world, and we'd go everywhere. And we'd have a limousine everywhere we went, and he'd pick me up. Like, he called me up. He called me Tie-Dye was my nickname. He used to call me Tie-Dye. And he'd say, Tie-Dye, I just had a heart attack in Hawaii. You got to come. You got to come. you know. And I said, man, I just got back from Club Med. I don't want to go to Hawaii. He says, please, I'm dying. So I dropped everything and ran to Hawaii, and that's where I met your mother. So I can't believe it. Here I am. I'm wearing a $500 tennis outfit, Feli, with the tennis shoes, the matching shorts, the matching jacket. And you could unzip the sleeves, a vest. And I'm riding in first class, drinking gin and tonics. And everybody thought I was in the triathlon because I was in shape, man. You know, I played tennis, surfed every day.
What, the Ironman or whatever? Or?
Yeah, the triathlon.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they run, they swim, all that. And I said, yeah, the triathlon, a gin and tonic. I always had a drink in my hand, you know, and the stewardess were tripping. Anyway, we land. Like, I'm the first one out of the plane coming down the stairs, and there's this helicopter maybe 500 feet from us chopping. And I look and I go, who's that? The president or something? It was a beautiful helicopter. Big fucker, man. It looked like Air Force One. And I hear this, Pee-wee, Pee-wee. It's Fox. He's in there with his girlfriend yelling, come on, we got the helicopter for you. And all the people on the plane are looking. You know, I come walking down the stairs, almost fell, you know, but I didn't spill a drop of the gin and tonic. And I get in the helicopter and we take off. And I said, you just had a heart attack. What's going on? Well, I'm over that now. Come on. So he flew me around the island. He showed me around all over the big island we were on, Kona, and that's where your mom's from. Yeah. And anyway, we ended up in a bar that night called the Eclipse. And that's where I met your mother. A long story short, after we were staying at the Mauna Lani, he had a suite there. But he was so fucking crazy and drunk, I had to get my own room. Anyway, we took off in the limo. We went Eclipse, and your mother came up to me and asked me if I was in the triathlon. And I told her gin and tonic, and she was disgusted, and she split. I didn't even talk to her. That was it. And anyway, we end up closing down, and I get in the limo, and Fox is yelling out, Pee-wee, hoo-ya, hoo-ya. And he's walking out with your mom and his girlfriend. And she jumps in the limo, and the driver already had a girl in the car that was sick. And make a long story short, your mom gets in the car with Fox and the girlfriend, and we had to pull over because the girl got sick. So anyway, your mom yelled, get rid of the bitch. She's ruining the party. So they dumped her off at her place, you know, because she was sick. And then we took off. And make a long story short, here you are.
And she was a looker too, right?
Oh, man, your mom, 19 years old. Oh, my God. Like Lady Godiva, man, I'm telling you, that long hair. She was in the sun every day, swimmer. Just absolutely beautiful. I couldn't take her anywhere. You know, I'd have to fight like cats and dogs. And she loved it too, to flirt. She loved to piss me off, man. I'm telling you, you know. But I was like 30 then. She was just turned 20, 19 turning 20.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, she's at my house in Hermosa. And then that ride started.
And she's pregnant with me.
Yeah, I only knew her like 16 hours, 18 hours. And I got in a fight with Fox as he said I stole his volumes. So we got in a big fight. The cops almost came, so I said, fuck it, I'm out of here. Fox, you had your heart attack and go to hell. I'm out of here. So I told your mom, I said, hey, you want to come with me? I can't believe it, but she did. She came with me all the way to California. I knew her, 16 hours.
Wow.
Nuts. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then we got in an argument that night, and fuck it, I jumped in the car and took her back to the airport and bought her a ticket and flew her back to Hawaii. Get the fuck out of here. You're crazy, man. Anyway, I went back to home and started crying with this alley cat, man. This cat used to come around. I used to feed it. You know, I felt sorry for it. And anyway, I let him come in the house. I'm holding him, crying. I really like this girl.
Even though you're allergic to cats?
Yeah, even though I'm allergic to cat. But
yeah,
the cat's nickname was Mange. It was a mangy fucking thing, you know, out in the alleys. But I used to feed it. Anyway, I'm holding the cat, and anyway, your mom calls and said she was sorry and everything about the argument and everything. I said, me too, and everything. So anyway, she flew back the next day. What an idiot I was, man. Anyway, I flew her back the next day, and then the story begins.
That was like a teaser or a trailer of what the relationship was going to be like right there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But anyway, she came back, and it was just so weird. I really loved. It was like love at first sight or something. It was weird. It's just she liked to cook. She liked the at first she liked the style, the home style and stuff. I didn't even show her the Lotus for a while because I didn't want her gold digging. I had the Toyota 4x and the Ranchero, and then in the Harley, I let her see that, but I didn't let her see the Lotus. It was in the back under a car cover.
Oh, you covered it.
Yeah, for about a month I didn't sell her.
You don't want the eyes lighting up.
Yeah, so anyway, I told her, let's go eat in Santa Barbara. I want to take her up and have abalone. So anyway, I fired up the Lotus and threw her in it. She didn't make no big deal of it. Like,
She didn't care
who
about
gives a fuck, Let's go. And we drove all the way to Santa Barbara and got abalone because that's really rare to get, and it's good.
Yeah.
With this famous restaurant in Santa Barbara. You've been to Santa Barbara, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty up there.
Oh, yeah. We love it.
And we drove up there and had abalone, and then we were happy, man. Then all of a sudden she says, I'm pregnant. It was so weird. We didn't plan that. We weren't even married. And then Fox calls. Now he's in Vegas. And we got to go to Vegas because in Vegas. So anyway, I got really wasted and I asked her to marry me in Vegas because she said you were pregnant. And no son of mine's going to be born a bastard. Fuck that shit. And she said yes. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, we got married. I bought her a wedding dress and everything. I can't believe we did it all in a day's work. She got fitted custom for it and everything, and it was so beautiful. Oh, you should have seen this dress, Mikey. You've seen the pictures,
photos,
right?
yeah.
And I did that all in a night. And we got married in this little chapel and with the drunk Fox and his girlfriend. And we got married in Vegas. I'll never forget it. And then we went back partying, and we were staying at Caesars. We had a suite at Little Caesars. And Fox took us out for dinner. But his girlfriend couldn't come because he had beat her. They were fighting over the volumes and the cocaine. So Fox hit her, and she had a black eye, so she couldn't go to our wedding dinner. We had Fox. So it was just me, Fox, and your mother at this famous restaurant at Caesars, man. And we had a dinner there that you would not believe. I mean, the caviar, the Dom Perignon champagne, everything was just, we had like 4 or 5 waitresses, 2 waiters. We had a masseuse at the table. She had a 14-karat gold phone to call all over Hawaii from Vegas until she got married and shit. And here's Fox with a shiner that I had hit him because he beat up his girlfriend. And the shiner was starting to show, and he's in our wedding pictures with a black eye. And his girlfriend had one too, but she wasn't there. She was too embarrassed. She wouldn't go to dinner. And it made a long story short, we drank up 5 bottles of that Dom Perignon, the 3 of us. And that bill came to $1,600. And this is back.
In 84?
Yeah.
I mean,
in 84. You know how much that is today? I mean, that's first class dinner, man. Let me tell you, for 3 people.
If anyone's life is a movie, it's yours, Dad.
I'm telling you, man, but that was a trip. Your mom married me. I can't believe it. And then coming home, she had the wedding dress still on. Guess who's on the plane and walks with her and tells everybody it's his wife?
Red Fox.
The black dude on Sanford and Sons. I swear to God, the guys are taking pictures of her as his wife.
Yeah.
And I'm the best man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, was that hilarious. The whole plane was laughing. That guy was a character, Red Fox. He was funny. He was a gambling fool. He died playing nickel slots. Red Fox.
He's a legend, that guy.
He was a legend, I'm telling you. Anyway, make a long story short, and then here you come.
Yeah. One sec, Pops. So how are we doing on time? Do you guys
I'd like
have
to
any
take
idea?
a break if you don't mind.
How far in are we?
It's 12:20.
Huh?
12:20. So like an hour 20?
We're about an hour 20 in?
Okay. I've been talking an hour?
Yeah.
5 minutes.
You've been on fire.
Oh my God.
No, it's awesome. But Dad, we got a bit more to get through. Do you want to take a quick break? And
Yeah,
then we'll
I'd like
get
to
back
have
into
a smoke.
Let's do it. Can
All
we
right.
take a quick break?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
please. I'm foaming.
Maybe take another piss?
Yeah.
We'll make sure you get it.
Hey,
one way
nice
or another.
meeting you, bro.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, Austin, right?
Yep.
Okay, Austin. You surfer?
Yeah.
You look like it, yeah.
I used to surf every day this year.
Yeah, me too. I used to go out back in my shop every day.
Oh, cool.
I sure miss those days. You don't know how good it does your soul, man. Just to be out there, yeah.
So therapeutic, being able to surf daily.
Yeah. Even with the crowds now, you can hang?
Yeah.
Most of your friends,
Honestly,
right?
I don't mind the crowd too much.
Yeah.
You're mostly beginners, you just gotta navigate.
What about
it.
trussels? Can you handle that?
I've surfed middles, I haven't surfed lowers yet.
Yeah.
but
Old
still
mans?
lowers. Yeah, old mans is fun.
Yeah.
All sand and no fray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Austin.
Alrighty.
All right,
All right.
bro.
Yeah. Take care.
As well. See you later.
All right. So we're good to go.
Good to go.
Okay.
Recording
And
now.
all right. And so, pops, we were talking about meeting mom, and oh yeah, she's pregnant with me. Basically,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was the happiest day of my life. Believe it or not, I was
Yeah.
ready. I was in 30.
And you wanted to
I
make
was-
sure I wasn't going to be a bastard, right? So
Yeah,
you
I wanted to make
that's-
sure, and then plus I was done partying. I had enough. It's Fox, man. He about killed me, man, keeping up with him.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't keep up with him. I went broke trying to keep up with him. The guy was multi.
Yeah.
You know, he had everything. It was sickening, but he was the most miserable, alcoholic drunk that I ever knew in my life. But he loved getting loaded. That's
Yeah.
what he lived for. It's sickening, man. And eating it, raviolis out of the can, cold, you know, SpaghettiOs and shit like this. You know, it's just insanity. And how a body can, and he had a pill purse. You know, what do they call those, fanny packs or whatever?
Yeah.
It was full of every drug you could think of. And if you touched that, he'd break your arm. You couldn't get near his fanny pack because of all the drugs in there.
Yeah.
He had uppers, downers, coke.
That was like all his binkies were in there, huh? Like
Everything in
pacifiers.
there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of that's what
the
it becomes.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
So tell me about okay, so and then I was born and you guys were living
I
in
was
Hermosa.
so proud. Yeah, in Hermosa
then-
Beach, I had that big condo on the water.
Yeah.
It just was, and then you were born. The neighbors downstairs couldn't believe it. You know, they saw a wild man. And
I went to that house recently. I told you that, right?
Yeah, did
the
you,
house I was
Hermosa?
born in, right?
Yeah, but you should have seen it back then, 40
Yeah.
years ago. It was stylish.
Well, it's right on the water.
I know. It was really neat. They had high ceilings, and I just loved the place. I lived there 10 years.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that time after I was born and then born and then
Okay, when
yeah.
you were born, like I said, Mama used to wear the muumuus when she was pregnant with you.
Yeah.
These beautiful dresses, like one was red, one was blue. And I just was so happy because she wasn't partying. She didn't drink with you. She didn't, take drugs, nothing. She ate good. She was a mother. And you don't know how happy I was, because I was used to women that party. But your mom, man, I thought, wow, this is going to be awesome. I really met a woman that likes to cook,
Yeah.
and loves being a mom, right?
Yeah.
But God darn, when she was having you, when she was in delivery, man, she was fucking cursing me, scratching me. You ruined my body. You ruined my body. She flipped out, man. Fuck. God, I said, man, what did they? She had treated like I gave her cancer or something because she had the perfect body, right?
Yeah.
Now she's gonna have stretch marks or
Yeah.
whatever.
She was
But
pissed.
anyway, it was bad with you and really bad with.
Yeah.
Oh, but anyway, get into that. But and then after you were born and she held you and everything, my friend Louie was with me and my dad when you came out. You
Yeah.
looked like a little vato.
Yeah, they said that ain't your kid.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Louie right away.
Yeah.
That ain't your kid.
That's a Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right away, he's accusing of mom cheating.
Yeah.
And my dad
And
said,
look at us, we're twins.
yeah, I know. And my dad said, hey, shut up. You get out of here if you're going to talk like that. My dad knew right away you were my kid.
Yeah.
But Louie was jealous of everything, Anyway,
Louie.
and I was holding you, and I just couldn't believe it. Little Mikey Jew. Of course, I named you after me.
Yeah.
You're named after Grandpa.
Michael the Fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same feeling when I held my little girl. I just couldn't believe it.
I know, it's amazing. And
yeah.
I was there. I cut the cord, everything.
Yeah.
It was, scary.
So, yeah.
I know what you women go through. Jesus.
But But okay, so moving forward, as I'm probably 2 or 3, comes into the world.
No, there's stuff before that.
There's
When
stuff
you
before
after
that.
you were born.
Did you guys separate for a time?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you what happened. You were about 6 months old, and I was I forget what I was doing. Me and Louie were together, and we were doing something on a. I was thinking about opening another shop because I got responsibility now. I have a kid. I'm married. And it's about because my money's running. It's starting to go down a little bit. After 6 years and not working, and partying, traveling, money kind of goes. So I said, well, I better get back to work. So me and Louie were looking at a building, and on the way back, we stopped at this bar. It was called Moon Shadows or something, the Blue Moon. And we had a drink or something, and I called Mama, and she was home alone with you. And she goes, where are you? I said, I'm with Louie. We just stopped for a beer. Well, a month before that, I had just bought her a Cadillac Seville. I bought her a new car because I made I made a hit at the track of about $6,000. So I went out and bought her a Cadillac, and then brought it home, put a ribbon on it with a little puppy dog I bought. A Springer Spaniel named Snoopy. And it had a ribbon on it too. And I put it in the front seat for her and told her, go downstairs. Somebody's trying to break in the garage. And she ran down there and she saw the car with the ribbon and all that. And I said, I told her, happy anniversary or something. I forget what I bought it for. I said, it's for you. And then the little dog came out and she was crying. Oh, this is neat and everything. That was a month before. All right. So anyway, go back to that. Me and Louie are having a beer. Your mom goes over to the next door neighbor, Charlotte. It was an old lady, but she had half a deck. She wasn't all there. She said, would you watch you, Mikey Jr.? She snuck up on me in the Cadillac at the bar, thought I was with some girl or something. Your mom was extremely jealous, and I was jealous too. Anyway, she comes in, and she said I was dancing, with some girl, which is bullshit. I was sitting with Louie, and this guy we met in the bar was a big muscle man. He's a weightlifter, and he was huge, man, about 280 and solid muscle. And he's telling me how women are all tramps and shit. You can't trust them as far as you throw them. And I said, you're crazy. I got a beautiful woman at home. I got just had a kid and everything. He goes, nah, they're fucking tramps. I go, fuck you. So I said, and then all of a sudden your mom comes in. And she's hysterically mad. What are you doing in here and all this? I said, we just stopped for a beer. And she goes, hey, you're dancing and shit. And she pulled my hair and said, I go, where's my son, Mikey? Oh, I left her with Charlotte, and that flipped me out. So immediately I said, Louie, get her home. I'm going to get Mikey. And I got in the car and I drove home like a bat out of hell to get you. And sure enough, you were up in her house. Now, Charlotte was a sweetheart, but like I said, she had half a deck. And her house was real old. She never let anybody inside the house. Well, what the fuck am I going to leave my kid in there for? So I went and got you and came back, and we're waiting for Mama to come home. Well, the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and she ain't home yet. So finally, I get a hold of Louie. I said, where in the fuck's Sandy? He goes, she went with that muscle man. I said, what? You promised me you'd get her home, you motherfucker. Oh, was I mad. And she didn't come home. She stayed out that whole fucking night with that muscle man. Oh, I paced up and down all night long. Oh, I couldn't take more heartache. Fuck, man, I just can't believe it. My wife. We just had you. You're 6 months old. Oh, my God. Oh, I was just fucking, I couldn't sleep. Imagine you. What would you do? So I didn't know where she was, what's going on. All of a sudden, about 11 o'clock in the afternoon, here she comes. Her fucking hair's, oh, man. She comes walking in. I says, where the fuck have you been? And she denied everything.
"Oh, I just took him home. We were talking. I said, you motherfucker, you went with that muscle man? After he just told me every girl in the world's a fucking slut, tramp, and oh my God, I wanted to kill her. Oh, I wanted to kill her. I swear to God, Mikey, I couldn't take it. I said, I got to get out of here or I'm going to do something I'm going to regret for the rest of my life. So I fucking grabbed her and I pushed her. And she grabbed this flower vase. It weighed about 5 pounds. It was crystal we got for a wedding present. And she threw it at me and it hit me in the head, in the back of my head. It knocked me down, almost knocked me out. And I had to rush to the hospital and get about 60 stitches. She split my head wide open, but I never knocked out. I kept consciousness. And she wouldn't even drive me to the hospital. I had to drive myself with the head wide open with the blood. And she's all the way, she's saying I was dancing after she didn't come home all night. So we get to the hospital. He's sewing my head, and she's yelling, I broke her arm. I broke her arm, because she didn't want to get in trouble for hitting me in the head. And the doctor says, Mrs. Millin, could you please shut up while I sew your husband's head up? I mean, this is the shit I go through. This ain't normal, man. Come on, Mikey. Long story short, we get home. I can't even look at her. I'm in so disgust that she's out with this muscle man. So anyway, I go on a drunk. It broke my heart. It broke my fucking heart. So I went down and I called a limousine service and did a Fox. I got a limousine. I said, take me to the clothier store, a suit. I had a $600 suit, custom made, tailored for me right on the spot. The limo's waiting outside. And I went on a 3-day drunk. And I had the limo drive me in the suit. We went back to the house. She's on the balcony with your niece. Is that your niece or whatever? Yeah. And they're on the balcony, and she ain't no saint either, right? And they're looking at me, and I'm in disgust. And I went, adultery! Jumped in the limo and took off. He took me to the airport and ended up in Lake Tahoe and gambling for 3 days straight, no sleep, running around the limo, fucking partying, casino to casino. And you wouldn't believe it. I ended up winning about $5,000 on the crap table. Didn't even know what I was doing.
You're by yourself?
By myself in the suit with the limo driver. And every time I'd have a wad of chips, I'd tell him, go cash these, go cash them. I didn't even count it. He could have ripped me off blind. He probably got $1,000 for himself.
Yeah.
But he'd cash it and hold the money, and then I'd win another pile by the time he came back. And it just went on and on. And I was on these black beauties. It's like speed.
Yeah.
You don't sleep on it. It's like tweak or something.
Yeah.
So for a 3-day drunk, man, that fucking suit, when I was done, you couldn't even donate it to the Salvation Army. It was thrashed. I mean, I fucking partied. So I went back, and I had to face the music, and I just couldn't look at her anymore. And she says, I'm leaving you. But the whole time I was gone for the 3 days, where do you think she was every night? With the muscle man. Because when she split, she went to Montana. When she left, she took the car. I kept the dog, because the dog wanted to stay with me. She flew down and drove back with her to Montana. And I started getting parking tickets in the mail in front of the muscle man's house. So I knew where he lived, on the Esplanade in Torrance and Redondo on the border there. So I had a little talk with the muscle man. And the guy that used to work for me, Robert, he was a black guy. We were like brothers. We always drank beer together. He called me governor. And I really loved this guy, man, Robert. He used to work for my dad, and then I hired him, and he worked for me for years. Me and him sat out in front of this old truck we had, a delivery truck called Rattler, because it rattled. It was a 66 Dodge, an old thing, but it ran like a son of a bitch. And I used to deliver in it, right? Anyway, we sat in front of this muscle man's house with 2 shotguns and a case of beer and a wad of cocaine. And we waited for this motherfucker. I was going to kill him. Just right then and there, right on the spot. Thank God he never came home. And that this poor guy, Robert, would have done that with me because he loved me as a friend. You know, I can't believe a friend that would do that to help me. He saw how sad I was. And finally, Governor said, Mike, we got to go, man. It's just too long. He ain't coming. I said, okay, Governor. So he dropped me off home. He went home. And then your mom was already gone. She was on the way to Montana. And here I was in an empty house, just me and the dog. And my newborn son gone. And this is the first time that shit that I went through. Here we go again. Another miserable fucking chapter. So anyway, go to the next one. Next question.
Well,
I don't want to think about that anymore.
I know, Dad. And it's
It
like,
just gets worse, too.
I mean, the crazy thing is, I repeated it in my life. That pain that you feel when a woman leaves you.
Oh.
I mean,
Not leave you, but cheating after you just had a kid.
Well, when you see him with another man, it's
Oh,
you know, I walked through it sober, and I couldn't eat or sleep for a year, and I was smoking 2 packs a day, and I don't even smoke.
Believe me,
because I didn't
know.
want to use drugs and alcohol, and it was the only thing that I could do to numb the pain somehow. And it's, I mean,
And the
if you
only
have-
thing you're doing when you're doing that is hurting yourself. Nobody else gives a fuck.
no one gives a shit.
They don't give a
They think you're
fuck. And here I
crazy.
am blowing all my money, drinking, and
Yeah.
fucking stupid. Crying over some woman.
It's insanity.
But it's human, man. I mean, some woman. It was my wife and kid. It ain't just some woman.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
So we don't have to dive too deep into that, but
Yeah.
the back and forth went on for years
Oh,
after that.
God.
Right? Misery.
We're talking, what, 4 to 5, another 5 years.
Yeah.
Total misery.
Yeah, back and
They're
forth.
calling me, you motherfuckers, send me money.
Yeah.
Send me money. You motherfucker, her sister, motherfucker, send the money. Send the money.
And I'm with Mom, and she's doing her best, but
Right.
we're in Montana, we're
Right.
in Florida, we're in
Right.
California,
Oh,
we're in
don't
Hawaii.
even talk. There's another guy.
Food stamps.
Yeah, I-
Greyhound. Thank God in Greyhound, she
gone.
got
I know.
right.
Well, the money got to run out sooner or later.
Yeah.
You know, after about the third guy, I mean, come on.
So,
Anyway, I took you back.
yeah,
I took him back.
you took us back.
Right.
Yeah.
After
course.
she went Mahula in Montana, she had enough up there. Here you come back.
Yeah.
So now I'm happy.
With
I
the tail
forgive her.
tucked.
I
Yeah.
forgive her.
I forgive. Yep.
But you can't bring it up because the arguments ensue.
And what were you doing when we were gone? You were probably drinking, right? To numb the pain.
Fuck. You
Right?
ain't gonna imagine.
I mean,
Oh God. I mean a case a day.
Did you end up on the street again at some point or no?
Not then. We did, you know, it's just
Sleeping in the bushes?
Still not there,
Outside the
not yet. I
101?
still had a few bucks left. I still
Yeah.
had the condo. You know, it was getting near, getting near the end there. And then she come back again. You know, this is she probably spent about a year up there. You know, and she sold the car, sold the wedding ring. It was a beautiful fucking wedding ring. Oh, I cherished that wedding ring. It was almost 2 carats. It was so beautiful, and she hawked that motherfucker and lived on the money, and sold the Cadillac, lived on the money. Of course, she come back to me fucking broke with nothing. But whatever. You're my son. I wanted, all right, I forgive you. I'll try it again.
Yeah.
So, about 6 months, we were doing okay. And then another time, fuck.
And she's gone.
Another guy named from the military.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have-
You're already about 2 by this
I have
time.
some memories of him because
Yeah.
we ended up in Florida with
Right.
him. Yeah.
Right, in Florida now.
Only thing I remember about Florida is otters and gators.
Yeah.
And snakes.
You were in
Jacksonville. Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like the football team. I used
Yeah.
to watch the news there. Jacksonville with you and another guy.
So this goes on for a few years, and because
Right.
the next chapter is sobriety. You get sober.
Oh, no, wait. No, there's one more guy after that. Yeah, Hawaii trip. See, when she takes you, it ain't across the street. It's across the country. It's not
Yeah.
that I'm abandoning you. The bitch is gone, man. Fuck, Florida, Montana, Hawaii. I can't just go across the street and see my son,
Yeah.
you know. But I jumped on planes and went to go see it, and
Yeah.
the misery, you know.
Well, that's the thing. That so I don't have a lot of memories of childhood, but I remember you coming back in my life when I was about 8 or 9 years old because Mom put me on a plane to come live with you
That was
from Hawaii to California.
the last fourth time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about that when getting sober and Oxnard
Okay,
and
well,
all that.
I finally drank where I couldn't drink no more. I got hepatitis from the liver was shot from the booze. I thought it was that, and I got a rotten ham sandwich at this restaurant because some other people got sick, so I knew. They gave me hepatitis, a fucking rotten ham sandwich on the Strand in Hermosa. And I got really sick again. Fuck, here I am. I had nobody to take care of me. My dad came to see me. He said, son, you got to go to the hospital, man. You're yellow. You know, my eyes were yellow, and I had, what is it, yellow jaundice or something? It wasn't Hep C, it was Hep B. You know, the one where you turn yellow and
Yeah.
stuff. It's not contagious. It's
Yeah.
just, my liver was shot from the booze.
Yeah.
Anyway, make a long story short, I got better. And I finally burned out. I said, man, it's either die or get help or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had been out of the condo now. I'm already out of the condo. And I'm in the second shop, the furniture mattress warehouse. And I'm living in the back of the shop. This is where I started the shop now because of all the moves I did in the homes and stuff with your mom back and forth. You're not even getting half the story of the homes and shit. Bypass that shit because I'm tired of talking about it. Anyway, I'm in the shop, furniture mattress warehouse, which was a big mistake. I should have said Michael's Sleep Shop because everybody knew the name. You know, all that advertising went down the tubes. So I put furniture mattress warehouse because it was the old Greyhound bus depot. It's a huge building.
Thank God, Greyhound.
Yeah, but the location sucked. It was downtown Torrance. I wasn't on a busy street. You had to look for me to find me. So anyway, I was in there sleeping in the back, and then I was talking to your mom, and she said that you're crying for me a lot. You know, I want to see Daddy. I want to see Daddy. And see, you don't remember this, but you were. And anyway, my Uncle Leroy had talked to me about AA. And make a long story short, she came back again, but she broke up with me again. And I got rid of the shop. I closed it. And I went on another drunk, pissed off the money. Long story short, I ended up in Oxnard with Leroy, with nothing. Just my Toyota truck. Everything, all the other toys were gone. The furniture stores were gone. The safety deposit boxes were gone. The bank accounts were gone. I had 11 cents when I got up to Oxnard. And I mean, I was ready to die. And Leroy offered me a place on the floor and to go to AA. And if he caught me once drinking, I'm out in the street. So I went up to Oxnard. I didn't know anybody up there. I went and got sober, went to AA, and I ran into Q-Ball. And that Mexican saved my life. He came to my house, at Leroy's house, every morning at 6 o'clock. Get up. We're going to Early Bird. Early Bird, every day. And you don't know what that's like when you're penniless and your wife and kids are gone and you're broke and you're just sitting in there with a bunch of other drunks. And you're looking around and you got 11 cents and, oh, fuck. But this cue ball kept on me. Work the program. Work the program. God grant you the serenity. God grant me the serenity. Share. Open up. Just don't sit there. Because, man, I'd just sit there. I wouldn't say a word. Scared shitless, you know. Look at me now. I'm foaming at the mouth talking. But there's a side of me when I shut up, I shut up. And for about the first 3 months, I didn't say a word. I just listened to all the other misery that went through. I wasn't the only one. In cue ball persistence like that, I had 4 months, then 6 months, and then a year. So, you know, I got sober, and then I finally I got a job selling used cars. Can you believe it? Here I had all that, and I ended up on a car on a Mexican lot selling to Mexicans.
The Mane Peluda.
Yeah, I was the gringo, la mane peluda. That means the man with the hairy arms. And it
'Cause
was
they
so
did
fucking
commercials
funny.
with, right?
We used to do commercials.
Yeah.
They put on a gorilla arm on me, and then, la mane peluda. And I used to go, mucho flaco, mucho pecas. That means real skinny and a lot of spots, freckles. And the little Mexican kids used to come, I want to see La Mane Peluda, La Mane Peluda, and Mucho Flaco. And it was so fucking crazy. I didn't speak a word of Spanish, but I learned it real quick. Well, you learn it living in California, but I learned it quick. And I sold cars to Mexicans for a year while I was sober. And before you knew it, I was driving the best car on the lot in 1 year's time. And the salesmen were all jealous because they were all Mexicans and they spoke Mexican Spanish, and I outsold them.
They wanted to buy from the white boy.
Yeah, because they didn't trust their own brand, their own family. I mean, their own nationality, because they were fucking them, and I was honest. I'd include the tax. I tried to get them a deal, and so I got a reputation as that. And my nickname was Irish. That's what they called me up there. La Mane Peluda, and my nickname was Irish.
Yeah.
So everybody called me Irish. And AA, Irish. And they asked me to speak and shit. And then I start talking and sharing. And there it went. The sober life wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I could wake up feeling not so like I wanted to kill myself. And, I'm working on a lot selling cars, but you got to be humble. But man, after what I blew, to look back, and the money I had, and the toys, and the freedom I had to end up like that because I got married. It takes two to tangle, I'll give her that. And I'll tell you, to this day, I love your mother so much, I don't care what happened in the past. That was the past. I married her too young. She was a kid. I was 30. I had burned out. So who am I to judge her?
It's unbelievable that you guys are together.
I
It's
know. It's fucking unbelievable.
But we're going to get to
that we're alive.
I know.
Let alone together.
I say this to you all the time. You have outlived so many people.
I know. A lot of guys are dead.
Like,
fucking
you
dead.
refuse
Here
to
I am.
die. It's unbelievable. I mean,
like a roach, huh? Fucking cockroach.
But anyway, so getting back to the lot. You're sober. You're making a
La Mane
comeback.
Peluda.
You're making a comeback.
All right. No, not happening. You're a comeback. I'm making a living.
You're starting, but then we come back in your life. I start living with you. What was that like? Because
you came back.
I came back first.
Without
my first
the
memory of you is getting off the plane. I had a picture of you.
Yeah.
And I saw you in person, and I couldn't believe.
I was in shock when I saw you, how you grew up from you and diapers to that. And I was and you were so fucking cute.
Yeah.
God, were you cute.
I don't know what happened. I guess we don't age
I
well,
was so red in the face all the time.
Yeah.
And, they used to call me, what did Louis call me? I used to hate him for it. He used to call me, what was that monster guy on Halloween?
Freddie?
The guy with the scissors. Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Because I always was red-faced and stuff, so
yeah.
he used to call me
But
that.
you're a handsome guy.
He called me that, and I used to have a complex. But let me tell you, I was bad with nicknames. I had a nickname for everybody.
You were the worst.
I learned it in the homes.
You're the ultimate belittler.
I know. That's what they say, but I didn't mean it.
I know. You can't help it, but it's a talent.
I got a nickname for everybody.
So what was that like?
Even her.
Me getting what was that like picking me up off the plane and then
I was proud again. Here,
Yeah.
my son, I'm sober.
Yeah.
I got, Mikey, man, I couldn't wait to show you around and stuff. And I start selling mattresses on the side in the storage.
Yeah.
And you and me would throw the football waiting for customers
We
on
had the
my
Honda
beeper.
CRX, the Ford Courier.
Yeah, but first I had to deliver on the little Honda CRX, the bunk
the
beds.
two-door, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't even, how did I do
The Ford
that?
Courier was what, a 1970 something?
74.
Man, you love that
Old
truck.
gold, we called it.
Yeah.
And it ran, man.
Yeah.
That mechanic owned it.
Ran like a raped ape.
It ran. I couldn't believe it. Never broke down.
Yeah.
Ford Courier.
And so, okay, I'm back. And
Yeah.
you're selling
and I'm
mattresses,
raising you, and
yep.
you and me are sleeping on a 1-inch pad on the floor.
And I'm so happy to be back because when you're a little kid, you just want to know your dad. And
Yeah.
I had that photo of you, and I was just so happy to have you be my
you
dad.
remember that
again,
mat,
you know?
that
Like,
little pad we slept on? You
Yeah.
slept south, I slept north.
yeah.
Your
And
feet
Leroy
were there.
used to smoke cigarettes all day and
Yeah,
throw the butts at
At
squirrels.
squirrels.
And call them
Chain
pieces
smoker.
of shit.
He'd throw the buds at the squirrels, man.
Piece of shit.
Yeah,
right?
and he was hitting NyQuil. And he's supposed to be sober.
Oh,
You know,
in the-
NyQuil's
in the coffee,
alcohol.
or did he-
Straight up, and then
Really?
hit the coffee. He drank a bottle of that a day. How could he do
And
it?
then go to an AA meeting and
yeah,
share.
and then share.
Yeah, talk about sobriety.
Yeah.
Really?
Fucking lying. Fucking lying.
Why did he do that?
Because he was fucked up. But hey, the only guy that gave me a helping hand when I was down and out, and he worked for my dad, and he opened a mattress store 5 blocks down the street from my father. My father could have killed him for backstabbing him like that. Open them. It's like Louis selling mattresses across the street. Well, anyway, but so what? I still loved him because he gave me a hand up when I was down. Nobody would help me, Mikey, and I didn't ask anybody. I'm not a type of guy to go begging. Fuck it, I'd rather suffer, live in the street and shit, because I was raised that way, to suffer. I'm not going to ask anybody for help. Fuck them. I'm not going to go begging. I'll just live in the bush or the street or the van or whatever. I don't ask nobody for nothing. I just don't. Anyway, go ahead.
So he gave you a shot. Leroy put us up. You're selling stuff out of the storage.
Yeah, then you and me
And
got
then-
our own place.
Yeah.
A little apartment. And that's when your mom came
And
back.
then mom and came back, and then we moved to San Diego because you opened a new business,
Mattress
a
shop.
new store.
Yeah, because
Next-
we went to Del Mar,
next
the
to the
racetrack.
track.
And we found the shop because of the racetrack.
Paradise.
Paradise. Oh, a block from the beach. The track's 5-6 blocks. Just paradise. And the rent was cheap.
$900 a month for a whole shop.
Yeah, but I grinded her down to $850. I even grinded on the rent. I can't believe it. She wouldn't give anybody a nickel. She was so cheap. Her
I know,
secretary
but she
told
loved
me.
you.
She didn't love me. She just respected me because I came up with you and the 2 kids and grinded on the. I was there 10 years.
I know.
10 years. I would have still been there today if they didn't run me out, the new owners.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that.
So
Yeah.
here's a question I got for you. You got the shop. The
Right.
family's back. You got another shot at this thing.
Yeah,
You
another
were
shot.
sober,
Yeah, sober.
but you stopped going to AA.
Yeah, I did it my own way.
Why?
Because I work, slept, eat the shop.
They call it white knuckling it.
Yeah.
You've heard of that, right?
No,
What-
but I wasn't. I was over drinking. I was over. It's weird to explain. I had the shop. I couldn't wait to work. I loved it. I had my own business again. I wasn't on the lot selling cars to fruit pickers. And I'm not, knocking it or nothing. God bless them. But,
Yeah.
I'm not the Lamana Peluda Irish, right?
Yeah.
I'm Michael again. And I called it Michael's Sleep Shop. Proud again. I'm ready. I
Yeah.
work night and day. And we made it. We made it, man. We got a deal. And then, it just never
I know.
fails. I don't know if it's karma or whatever.
But it never crossed your mind to keep going to AA meetings?
I should have. That's the mistake I made. But
not
still,
funny, but
but
what do you
no,
mean
your
you
mom
should've?
wasn't into AA. Your mom wasn't into that,
Yeah. She didn't dig
God
it.
bless her,
Yeah.
but she wasn't into that, and neither was I. And I went to the track,
Yeah.
to release steam and stuff and have
Yeah.
fun,
Bet the ponies?
Yeah, but she thought I was out flirting with girls. Which you were with me. I never did I? I just bet the horses when I'm hanging with the lowlifes, the bums.
Yeah.
But your mom always thought I was with girls or something. She was so weird on that because she grew up with all them sisters and saw it all.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened this time when she came back. And then didn't she leave again?
Well, there's a lot in there
Take you
again,
to
but
Hawaii.
I sort of want
Yeah.
to go because we got a lot of misery, all right?
Yeah,
right? But there's
I
a lot
know.
of goodness, and it's crazy because
Yeah.
here's the book, Dad, and it's called A Life of Opposing Forces. Man, your life has had nothing but opposing forces.
Just
Light
on and
dark,
on and on.
right?
I'm burned out. I can't take no more.
It's
Because
unbelievable.
if I do, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I hear you.
I'm done.
So-
I'm ready. I'll just jump.
I know, and
Fuck
it's
it.
not a joke.
right.
But okay, the next thing is back surgery.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
Oh, and then the
the
pills.
pills.
Oh.
So you're trying.
I'm in back suffering, delivering mattresses, can't even take a crap. Remember, you guys
Yeah,
had to
we had to
carry
carry
me.
off the shitter.
I
right?
can't cough.
yeah.
It hurts so bad down my sciatic leg, all the way down my leg, and just I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Finally, and then they had me on them pills for a year and a half. I finally
Vicodin.
said, Vicodin, OxyContin.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man, Ultram.
Yeah.
The worst of it was the OxyContin.
Yeah.
That's you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You're so goofed up on them fucking pills. I'm telling you, and your mom loved them. Oh, she loved them, man. She used to I have to hide them from her. Here I am dying, and she'd take my last one. You know, she loved them. I'm fucking dying. Where's my medicine? Where's my medicine? Oh, I don't know. You know, fuck. I think that's why she stayed with me, because I was getting the medicine. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty incredible because you guys end up staying together from this period on.
Yeah.
And even because
Maybe
you know what I
we
mean?
finally
And-
got burned
and
out.
we were just punk kids, so we didn't know what to do. We were spoiled, right? You called us spoiled, right? Right, all that bullshit.
No,
which we
but-
were.
Well,
in certain
compared to
ways,
my
compared
life,
to you,
yeah,
right? But
compared to my life, but then
because
again,
we were living in the shop,
Yeah.
we had all these millionaire kids
Oh,
around us, so
man,
we're
I
like,
know.
what the fuck's up with this?
I was
right?
delivering mattresses to them. But
But-
you don't think I saw it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, I was right there with you delivering.
You know,
remember
but
you
I was
gave me my
after
first
all the
job.
homes I had and everything. But then you guys were surfing all the time. I couldn't even get you to work.
We were lucky we got to surf. We grew
You
up
were
in-
shit lucky. That's all you did. You were surfing in your fucking sleep. I couldn't get you help on anything.
Yeah.
I could barely get you to school. They even had surf PE.
Yeah.
Can you believe you go to school and get credit for surfing? I
Yeah.
never heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
I said, man, where was I when I was a kid? You know, fuck,
Yeah.
all I saw was wine bottles and beatings.
So here we go. This is obviously there's a little bit more misery left here, but we're almost
Yeah.
done because it ends. we're in
Anyway,
a good
what's
place
weird
today.
about it, can I tell you one thing? Me and Mama finally got you a home again, bought it for you to have your own bedrooms. And
Right
you
here
guys wouldn't even
in
come home.
Oceanside.
Right down the street.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even come home.
Yeah.
You stay in the shop.
We finally had the
So
shop.
I said, that's it. I give up. Fuck
Yeah.
it. I spent my last money, bought the place, and you won't even come home.
Yeah.
Brand new everything. Furniture, house,
I know.
swimming pool, everything. But it was Oceanside.
Ungrateful kids. What can you say?
No, it
right?
was Oceanside, different than Solana
Yeah.
Beach.
Well, these
I
days
admit
it's
it.
nice, but
Plus, you had that old fucked up truck.
but you
had
ended
to
up
drive
selling the condo. You made a good chunk.
because it got mold in it. It
got
almost
mold-
killed us.
all of us.
Thank
Toxic
God
mold.
you didn't come home.
One more.
It
thing
had
after
toxic
another.
mold. Oh
Yeah.
man!
So-
I got sick again.
Yeah, I remember I had sinus infection so bad for
Me?
years that I they wanted to do surgery.
I
And I
know.
finally said fuck it, and I just kept surfing and
yeah. Remember that the
taking
sinus.
antibiotics. Yeah, and it
the
went away.
mold will kill you.
I know.
And they settled out of court. They fucked me on that case. It was supposed to be $1 million case. Took 3 years of their lies. And that lawyer sold me out for a measly 60 grand.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? And they took half. I only got 30.
So you got 30.
Yeah.
And then it was on with the pills.
Well, yeah, it's been on. The
Yeah.
whole time with the condo, I was taking the pills.
Yeah.
And I finally did surgery.
And at this point, I'm older, so I'm
Yes,
I'm
you were
out of the
growing.
picture. I'm actually becoming an alcoholic myself.
Yeah, I
in my
did.
own
I
way.
saw a little bit of it, but I liked your friends. They were cool at first. You were surfing all the time, so I didn't worry.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were out there fucking. I knew you were drinking and shit. Remember, we used to come and leech in back of your house.
Yeah.
When we came back broke from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You don't know how that hurt me.
Oh.
To ask you just to sleep so
I
we
know.
wouldn't be in the street. It just hurt me.
There's been a
man.
lot of hurt,
Oh God.
So,
I can't believe the life I had. I hate it.
What a ride, huh? I
Yeah,
but you got some peace now.
Yeah,
Mom.
I
You
have
do. And
peace.
we're coming to that, but you basically ended up homeless for 10 years after this,
Living in the van.
living in the van.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we were in the Hyundai at first. You imagine me and his mother sleeping in
yeah,
the freaking
you were in that
Hyundai?
two-door
It was as
Hyundai.
big as this chair.
I remember I'd pull up and you guys were sitting like this.
Oh, I know. You said we had heads
trying
like
to
pumpkins.
sleep like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
And
And, then
Dad-
cars going by.
It
Oh,
ripped-
check the bums, mommy. Look, bums.
Yeah. And then I mean that ripped my heart out of my chest. And then I
And
would,
then you're-
drink.
he could give a fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I
Anyways.
don't want to talk about him.
Yeah,
I don't.
but he does care, you know, and is
No,
we all doing our own way.
he's
but,
changed, Mikey. I'm telling you, he's
All right.
kid. I don't want to bring it up. Yeah.
yeah, but so you know,
You don't even talk to him. What the fuck you talking about? You don't even talk to your own shit. If I had my here, man, I'd be so happy.
I love,
just-
but it's
I know,
it's
I
his
know.
choice, Dan. You
It's
know?
just sad why we're so fucked up. It's
I know
weird.
it's been, and this is what it's generational fucking trauma. It
It's-
just keeps going on and
Your
on.
book has pointed a lot out to me because, you know, I've tried to put it in the past, but you can't. Just being raised like that, you just can't. You
can't.
got to learn to cope with it.
It comes
and
to
live.
the surface if you don't.
And like you
do
said,
it.
AA helped me a lot. I remember that. And I remember that first year of the brotherhood and the unity. Why I got out was a lot to do with working and your mother coming back.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't need it, and I thought wrong.
Yeah.
Because I eventually later, after all them years of no smoking, no drinking, got fucked up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweepy died. Your
Yeah,
dog, and
that
then
was
you said,
yeah.
"Fuck it."
Sweepy died. It broke my heart. I can't believe a dog would do that to.
Well, you love the little
your
animals.
heart. I know.
You always do.
I know.
You know.
Yeah,
And
they're so innocent. You know, so precious.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Dad, you know, I mean, AA has, you know, it's fucking saved my ass.
It really did.
really,
It did
you
because
know?
I was dying.
Yeah.
And then cue ball at my door every day. Even though that son of a bitch fucked me for 60 grand. You know what? I got to let that go. Your mom was in the operating table when he did that. She was having a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
And he called me up that morning before the surgery and asked me, Mike, I'm going to the track. Give me your picks. And I said, as a friend, Q, I'll give you these picks, but if it hits, you got to split it with me. It's only $4 bet. And I swear to God, you give me your bro's word and I'll give it to you. It's not that I want it, but I'm desperate right now because we're losing the house with this mold case.
Yeah.
Could you do it? And you wouldn't believe it. The grace of God. I picked it for $4. And it hit, paid $66,000. And that fucker told me you didn't get it. The guy that saved my life
Yeah.
took the money. I can't prove it for sure, but that low down son of a bitch. And I said, Q, you gave me your word as a bro that you would split it with me. And I had owed the credit cards 50 grand from that house in the mold case and stay.
Yeah.
Remember we had to stay in motels? Remember and paying?
Yeah.
Who do you think paying all that? My
mean,
credit cards were over the limit.
Yeah.
man.
All this, like, I honestly, I should be dead as well after, because watching you guys go through that.
Oh,
and
I
then-
could imagine.
And then, you know, I was self-destructing because I was in so much pain.
Yeah,
mean,
I felt so guilty.
One night I mixed a bunch of cocaine and Seroquel and ended
But
up
think
in
how we
hospital.
were living it. You know, what could I do for you? We were gone. We're on them pills,
Yeah.
man. You don't think the same. Those fucking pain pills.
It killed me. It killed me. I didn't know what to do. I was a kid. You know, I wanted to help you guys, and
Right.
I did. I put Mom up for a while, and there was just a
I
lot
know.
that
What are
happened
you
there.
gonna do?
But you know what's
Fuck.
crazy, Dad? As much as, you know, you've had an insane life, but I know that you never stopped loving us. and
No,
loving
I
me.
never
You
did.
And I'm telling you, Dad, I don't think I'd be sober today if it wasn't for what you've done.
I would have gave you the shirt off my back. I wanted you to have a good life. I really did.
And I do today. And think about what we're doing right now, how this might, think about the people out there going through this. There's
Yeah.
more people than not in the world.
You know, though, when we were in the shop, though, you know, we were a family, and Mama was cooking back there and everything. You guys always had something to eat.
We did.
You were surfing all the time. You know, I
could've
just
been
took
way
it for
worse.
granted you were happy, you know, but I knew it was embarrassing for you when their family, their kids would come over and stuff. But your friends, I got to know them pretty good, and
Yeah.
they didn't give a fuck. They were your friends. They weren't materialistic.
Dad, you came back and you raised us, man.
Yeah,
look
well,
in my
I never
eyes-
wanted to leave in the first place. I couldn't take it. You know, she broke my heart.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
You know, and well, I was just gonna say that. I mean, I know you don't think this probably sometimes, but I have a deep respect for you, man. I really do. I know you don't
Well,
feel it, but
I didn't mean things, especially when I was homeless. You know, after suffering as a kid like that, and then to go through that. But man, it's just, you can't take the pills and drink. You can't do it. It just ruins your fucking life.
Yeah.
But man, the pain of back surgery, you'll never know unless you have it yourself what it does to you. That you don't want to live anymore. The pain. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't cough. I
Yeah.
mean, it hurts that bad. It's because all that furniture I moved all my life.
Yeah.
Beacons, then my own stores. You know, I was moving refrigerators, pianos. I was the littlest guy at Beacons. They were all big fucking convicts in there.
Yeah.
And I was over there helping them deliver furniture. It's crazy.
yeah.
But I hustled, man. I did it.
Do you have anything you want to say to anyone out there who's struggling with staying sober and whether or not they
Don't
should
start the pain pills, please.
What about AA and all that? I mean,
Oh, you got to stick with it. You got to, like they say, work it, it'll work you. You got to go and you got to open up and stick with the winners. Don't go with the losers, man, because there's so many out there that'll bring you down.
Who are the winners?
The guys that go to AA every day and preach. And you'll know the winners when you see them. They come to your house. They make you go to the meetings like cue ball. That's why I forgave him. And I fuck the money. If he took that, okay, God bless him, he took it. But I'll never forget him there every morning to take me to the meetings when I was ready to jump. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I can't forget it. And just the fellowship. But then your mom came back, like I said already. And I was working every day. I thought I didn't need it anymore. See, but the advice I can give you is work the program, stick with the winners, try not to do the pills, and don't drink. I mean, there's normal people out there that can have a glass of wine, but a compulsive guy like me, that what I've been through, you can't have one because there's another and another. Like now, I eat ice cream, popsicles. I have them every day now. I can't stop, but I love it. But it's better than booze.
Yeah. And I
That's all I
just
can
want to
say.
add there that if you're struggling with staying sober and going through the program and you got stuff that's deep inside that you don't want to talk about, you have to have the balls to face those fears and get honest with someone, because if you don't, you just keep stuffing it deeper and deeper with drugs and alcohol. It's eventually going to erupt and come to the surface like it has in your life. Right.
Yeah,
And it
like
has in
when
my
I was
life
going to
too.
drive the car through the shop,
Yeah.
remember? And I was going to kill myself,
Yeah,
and you
yeah, yeah.
stopped me.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that was so scary. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I think that's a good message for people out there, because there's a lot of people. I mean, so many people are dying from fentanyl use. And
Oh, I
it's
know.
really bad out
It's
there
just,
right now.
if you can, if you
Different
got
types of-
family that loves you and are willing to just try to be loved and love back. But I didn't have that opportunity growing up. It's hard for anybody out there that was treated like me and my brother. I tell you, it's just amazing that I'm here today. It
is.
really is.
You're a strong dude, Dad.
I'm
Like,
just
it's-
telling you,
it's
it really
unbelievable
is.
that you're still alive.
And then I didn't hurt anybody really bad. I'm
Yeah.
just so grateful, and I get on my knees and I talk to God, because without God, none of this would be possible. None.
Yeah.
You got to have a higher power. You really do. And with all the shit going on in the world today, if you don't believe, there's something wrong with you. Because believe me, it's coming. And it's coming quick. No, I'm serious.
I'm right
man.
there with you, Dad. I'm right there with you. So we're almost done here, and we're just gonna kind of close up by like the positive space that you, Mom, and Henry are in now. You guys got housing.
No, I
about
got my
7
little
years ago.
Henry.
You got a beautiful little apartment right near the the coast here at Oceanside.
Well, if you
after-
call it that, you know, but I think God put us there for a reason, because every day I see the homeless, because they have a homeless shelter across the street.
Yeah.
And I see it every day. So if I want a drink, just look out the window and see where you're headed, buddy. So I think God put us there for a reason. I really do.
Yeah.
Because when I see that, the guy laying in the street, puking his guts out, talking to himself like the devil, I say, fuck that. It's
Yeah.
scary. And then I almost died, you know, pissing blood and everything. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah,
I was
you told
really
me. I was
sick.
worried, man.
And I haven't had a drink since. I'm just telling you, I think God put me in those apartments for a reason,
And you've
because
been-
I see it every day.
It's been over a year. You haven't been drinking?
Year and a half. Yeah. Since last November 3rd.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But like
I
you
mean,
said,
I never thought I would see that, Dad. Like,
no, because I gave up and I didn't
Yeah.
give a fuck, you know, and I'm dying anyway. Shit, you're 72. I mean, well, back then I was in my 60s, and
Yeah.
you get stinking thinking, you know.
You've been dying for 20 years. What if
Yeah.
you outlive all of us?
Well,
You never-
God, so be it, you know. But come on, I just had half my face cut off. Fuck, what are you talking about? Don't worry, man. It's, you know, they say that you're lucky to make it to 80, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Do you have anything you want to say about the book? That
It's awesome. It opened my eyes. I wouldn't even be talking here if it wasn't for that book. Because, man, I really looked back and saw how my life was. And you don't even know. I just wish you'd have seen the good times. Fuck. I mean, but that was more
Look where we are right
materialistic.
now, though. We're sitting
Yeah.
here doing a professional interview.
Yeah.
Or
It could
good,
be
good,
in the
good,
bush
yeah.
or in the van, you know,
Yeah.
going to the
Something's happening here.
to the pharmacy and getting the pain pills again, and you know, or
Something's
the booze.
happening here right now, Dad. God's working in our life somehow. If that's whatever that works for you, the universe, my higher power is Christ.
I
That's
just wish,
what-
pray to God
but
that
it's like-
people won't have to go through what I did. That's
Yeah.
all. Not even half of it. That's all I prayed. And God bless the ones that are going through it, man.
Mm.
Just hang on, because it does get better if you try.
yeah,
But you got to try.
yeah,
That's it, yeah.
yeah. And it just to add on to what I was saying, like, you know, that none of this would be happening without this beautiful woman, Danny, coming into my life
I
and
hear
helping
ya.
me.
That's what I
write
told
this
her, and she told me,
like,
I shouldn't have my name on the book. I said, well, you crazy, man? You're the reason why this is happening. You
no
and
shit.
God.
I made sure that her name was on the cover. This would not be happening without her.
So what are you waiting for? Get on your knees and ask her to marry you, man. We want a grandson or daughter.
I thought you were going to say get on your knees and something else, but it's all in God's time.
Well, you know, do it before I die, all right?
Yeah.
I just want to have peace.
What are your future plans? Where are you headed from here?
This here, I'd like to go home to my dog. You know, and
We're-
see Mama.
We're
you
gonna
know.
we're gonna go get Mama and we're
Yeah.
gonna have a nice little
And,
time.
you
But I
know,
just mean moving forward in life. You
I'm
know?
just grateful to get it off my chest. 'Cause-
Yeah.
But I'm pretty burned out.
Yeah.
You know, I've been through hell, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
That's
know,
just,
Dad.
and that ain't even a tenth of what I
know.
Yeah.
And
It's
that
just-
was more than you've ever told me.
Yeah, but I don't want to tell anymore.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Well, I'm grateful, you know, that I don't have terminal cancer, you know, and I'm grateful for my family and Danielle there, and I'm just happy to be alive now. I really am. And just, you know, all them years of drinking and drugging and stuff, it does brain damage. And slowly but surely, I'm getting more and more positive, you know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate it. It does get better if you give it a chance. But you got to try. I'm telling you, you can't just get sober because somebody tells you, hey, get sober. You got to want it. If you don't, then God bless you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you can do it without wanting help or wanting a different life. I mean, who wants to live like that? It starts out fun, but it turns to fucking misery. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's about all I have to say.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming, Dad. I love you, man. And
I love you too,
come
son.
here, son. Bring
Thank you.
it in. Let me give you a hug. Let's wrap this up.
Let me get up there. I was gonna get pumped there, man. God, you got big, kid. I can't believe you're taller than me now, man. I used to whip your little ass.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I know this was a pretty heavy episode, a lot of ups and downs, but I just wanted to say if you're struggling today, reach out and get help. There's there's AA, there's the suicide hotline. There's lots of help out there if you need it. Don't isolate and self-destruct. There's options out there. I got help when I needed it. Obviously, there were periods in my dad's life when he needed help and he got it. Yeah, and we'll put the links in the description below. Thanks for watching.